open the meeting pursuant to the charter.
The meeting is now open. Why don't we go through this and then we'll make announcements after?
Go through
Okay?
this?
Yep.
All right.
So I'm going to hand this over to...
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. What do those words mean to you? To me, they say, thank you, America, for your strength, your courage, for our freedom, which has been a beacon to the world for 200 years.
Of the United States of America,
Whose bright stars are 50 states, each bearing its own stamp of individuality. People, 200 million strong. People who have come to her from all corners of the earth.
and to the republic for which it stands,
A land of laws with an ingenious system of checks and balances that allows no man to become a tyrant and lets no group prevail if their power is not tempered with a real concern for the governed. A land where the right of dissent and free speech is jealously guarded, where the ballot box is the sword and the people its wielder.
one nation, under God,
A land where freedom of worship is a cornerstone of her being. A land graced with temples and churches, synagogues and altars that rise in profusion to embrace all the religions of the world.
indivisible,
A land forged by the hot steel of raw courage and formed forever by the awful crucible of civil war.
with liberty,
Where man in pursuit of an honest life will not be denied his chance. Where her citizens move freely within her vast borders without hindrance or fear. A land brimming with opportunity, where freedom of choice is the guideline for all.
and justice,
The courts of our land are open to all. Its wheels of justice grind for all causes, all people. They look to every avenue for justice, every concern of the law, and they temper their reasoning with mercy for all.
All set? Thanks, Gordon. As you can see, we got some local folks that are serving in various branches of the service there. And, Gordon has been trying to put something together, and really was 2 or 3 weeks ago, I think. Would have liked to have done it, but it took a while to get all of the names. I'm not sure that we got them all, but a lot of pictures, right? So we will, and I'm sure, keep those folks in our thoughts. Any other announcements? Just want to remind everybody, if you haven't seen all of the, so to speak, fanfare on Discovery Channel tonight at 10, one of our local businesses will be on the, I guess it's a series, right? How and How, or Black Ops Brothers, or whatever they're calling it. So for those of you that are late nighters or have DVRs or whatever the case may be, 10 o'clock on the Discovery Channel. So anything else? No, let's move into the agenda. We have an appointment tonight. John Winslow, I'm going to talk about the 2010 census. It's that time. The podium is yours. Yeah.
Thank you. All right, thanks for the introduction, Dennis. I'm here to reinforce some advertising that we've done around town about hiring people to go out and take the census, do the enumerating, the actual counting. And I would like to address some of the reasons why we do the census. One is the population of the United States determines how many representatives we have to this state governments and the federal governments. And based on the population, that determines how many representatives we're going to have. And the other is to make sure that the districts are equal. If you have a really high population town, the district will be smaller in geographic area, therefore making the representation more equal for everybody. And then we have over $300 billion annually that's spent in the states from the federal government based on the needs of the people. And in the census, there are ways that we determine where that need is most relevant, and that helps to put the guidelines on how much spending we do in each geographical area. And let's see, then, and I'd like to provide some information on how you get the census job. And there's a lot of posters around every business in town. And it gives you an 866 number, actually, to call. And the person would call there and ask to have an appointment to take a test. And they would try to get a place that's closest to that person to take the test. Now, we have testing sites here in Waterboro every Wednesday. We have them in Limerick on Wednesday morning and Wednesday afternoon here in Waterboro. And there's a testing site in each of the towns around. We have a few night testing sites. One is at the Eagles in Waterboro. And there is a Saturday testing site in Hollis. We're going to hire approximately 1,000 people to be out taking the census. And this will be between 4 counties, Androscoggin, Oxford, York, and Cumberland. And the rate of pay is going to be $14.50 an hour. The length of the job will be about 8 to 10 weeks, depending on how fast you do your work. And you'll get reimbursed for mileage, 55 cents a mile. And let's see. And that's just about it. Is there any questions?
Yeah, John, you are the coordinator for the town, coordinator for the region.
I've got Waterboro, Limerick, Standish, Leamington, Lyman, and Hollis, and Dayton.
Is there, when does this start? And is
As
there
far
an
as
age?
testing goes, we're already tested. We test, there's a test every day in some area around here, every single day.
And when
except
does
for
the
Saturdays.
census start?
The census starts at the end of March. There'll be flyers going out in the mail, and the people that answer the census through the mail won't get a visit. The people that don't answer the census will get a visit. And that's the process that the enumerators will be doing. We'll be going to all the addresses that we didn't receive a flyer from.
And what's the hourly commitment per week?
20 to 40 hours. And because that would depend on your area. You may have less travel, so you'll be able to finish your job quicker because you visit more per hour. And if you have a really high geographic area, of course, it'll take quite a bit longer.
So I would presume if somebody spent 20 hours a week, they're probably going to be 8 to 10 weeks.
8 to 10 weeks.
If they were 40 hours, maybe it's on
Yeah,
the
5
shorter
weeks.
side of that.
Yeah. There'll be a complete listing of all the places that they have to visit.
How many people total did you say we're going to have for the 7 towns?
For the 7 towns?
Yeah.
I'm not exactly sure. Depends on the population.
All right, so you actually talked about York and Cumberland counties,
Yeah, York,
right? So-
Cumberland, Androscoggin, and Oxford counties.
Okay,
There'll be
so
1,000. There'll be 1,000 enumerators.
So 1,000 people in those 4 counties,
Yeah.
basically.
And you have in writing the testing times and things like that, so if we want to...
Yeah, you just call, I have some cards here, I can leave some cards, and you just call the telephone number on the card, ask for a test site, and they'll tell you where you go to get your test. Takes about 30 minutes to take the test. The total time you'd probably be in the room will probably be close to 45 minutes to an hour, because you got to fill out your paperwork and all that. And when you call to get an appointment, they're going to tell you to bring documentation, 2 proofs of identity, or a passport, and any documentation that says you were a veteran, things like that. And if you just walk into the test site, those are some of the things that you should have with you. If you don't get an appointment, you'll have to make that up yourself. And the brochures that I left around explains that as well. Online, there's a practice test that you can take, so it'll make you familiar with what the actual testing is. Any other question?
If a person were to apply, can they pick the county that they're working in? or-
What'll happen is that of all the people that are applying, in a certain, say, we take Waterboro, for example, there was 20 people that applied for the job, and we needed 5. So the 5 highest scores on the test, they would get a call. They would be asked if they wanted to take the job or not. And if one of them did not take the job or had a reason why he couldn't take the job, then they would go down the list as the scores went. And then once that happens, then they would go in and do testing. And when they would do like a training period. There's 4 days of training, which would be paid as well. And it could be on the weekend, it could be at night, someplace around here. So if you were to get hired, you would work this area. You wouldn't be expected to go to South Berwick or something like that.
It would be within, if you applied within York County, it would be York County. You wouldn't be sent to Oxford County or Cumberland County.
Actually, closer than that. If you apply in Waterboro, you'd probably be in Waterboro. If you're a Waterboro resident, that's where they're going to keep you, because they pay mileage from your home until you get home. So we try to keep the people as close to places that they're going to be counting, so they don't have a lot of travel.
Is there any
That's the plan.
is there any flexibility for someone that may have a part-time job and
Or a
wanna
full-time
fill it in?
job. Yep, part-time or full-time. There are full-time enumerators. They work at night and on weekends. And that's when people are home, and essentially, most of your work will probably be done in the evenings and the weekends. During the day, a lot of people are at work, so it's hard to visit.
So ultimately, the task would be, if someone is hired, is they would be given a certain listing, basically, right?
Right.
And they would have to go, in essence, whatever time was required to
Yeah.
pick
That's
up
exactly
all
right.
of the loose ends, if you will, for those people that didn't reply by
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Now, do people go alone, or they go in pairs, or?
It's made up of a team now. In a certain area, there'll be a team of, say, like seven people, and there'll be a lead person in that team. And if you go to a place and you feel uncomfortable about knocking on their door, if it says, beware of owner or something like that, because you wouldn't approach there without some backup, right? So, and it's everybody's right to take the census, but it's also everybody's right to refuse to take the census. So there'll be some people that won't get counted. They'll be estimated. So, any other questions?
John, is that testing time at the Eagles a happy hour, or is that?
It's actually during happy hour, 5 o'clock. At the Eagles, you don't have to, it's 5 o'clock on Mondays, and we use the side entrance to the Eagles, so you don't have to go in the bar anymore.
You got to take the test beforehand.
Yeah, take the test before. Any other questions?
Anybody else? Any questions?
Anybody else, any questions?
It's I guess the only thing that I would add, which, I'm sure John is this whole push is the more accurate that this is, the better it is, right? I mean,
Right,
ultimately,
exactly.
we want to make it as accurate as possible, so.
And you do have to be 18, and you do have to have a driver's license. Any other
Okay,
questions?
Good.
Great.
thanks, John.
I'll leave these right here.
Yep, appreciate the
Thank
the
you.
update.
Be good, I can serve.
Do you want to come back, John, if we get to closer to March timeframe and there's a lack of folks, or, I mean,
Well, you'll be seeing a lot of ads on TV. They haven't started them yet, but within this week, there's supposed to be a lot of ads coming on TV, and there'll be some in the local papers and whatnot. So I will come back. If we don't have enough people, I will be coming back.
all right, well, you're more than welcome to come and use this as a forum to attempt to recruit if you need to.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, then we get delegation, correspondence, reports, town administrators report.
Oh, my report's going to be on the budget.
On the budget?
On the budget. I have your budget books here, which is going to be attached to you for a while.
Well, I'm glad they're not those big gaumy.
Well, I thought about doing them this year, but
Thank you, I think.
one more.
It cost about $30 to send one down to Florida, wouldn't it?
I sent her a spreadsheet, so she's got. I sent her one of the spreadsheets that we.
Yeah, we probably failed to make that
I was
announcement.
gonna say.
Cindy is online with us, even though she is in Florida.
And
so-
will be for the next 4-5 weeks.
Yeah, so she's attempting to participate as much as she can. Unfortunately, she doesn't get a vote if she's not in the room, so we'll go from there. Go ahead, Nancy.
And of course, it looks like this is going to be a very, very difficult year with our budgets. Of course, it's still uncertain what will or will not be coming down from Augusta. I mean, municipalities right now are scrambling, trying to figure out revenue sharing. It was cut, but nothing's been put out there yet. And in Waterboro here, it's going to be a shot in the dark, but right now, we were down last year from what was projected by the state to what we actually received. We received 97.15%, so we was down like 2.85%. this current fiscal year, which is, we're only 6 months in, but we're down 5.10%. I'm sure the next 6 months I'm not going to make up the 5.10%. I'm sure probably it's going to be less than that. And what's going to come July 1st? I mean, Joe, I don't think nobody knows up there what's coming down yet. All we know is there's cuts coming.
Well, the 5% we lost last year was,
This year.
I mean, you know, what started in the last fiscal year,
Started
right?
July 1st.
We in essence had 2.5%, which would have been on 5% on an annual basis, right? And then in this current year, I thought it was 10 for the year, right?
It looks like it's going that
Yeah.
way, 10%. So
And I think there's been notifications from MMA as best as they can project, and they're talking about another 5 or something of that nature, and tree growth, and
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there's really nothing, no definite amounts out there right now. I think everybody's just reaching in the hat, and whatever the number is, that's what they're going with. And of course, the funding for the budgets is going to be a process this year too, because last year we used the transfer station account, capital account. That can't be used this year. I mean, the funds that's left in that is to do capital accounts, capital projects already approved. The rescue equipment account, we used all of that, and the rescue building capital account, we really tapped into that hard last year. So we're going to have to come up very creative on what we're going to do for appropriations. The auditor did say that we could be surplus this year, but we should not exceed $350,000. And I know it probably sounds like a lot, but when you're looking at budgets, you know, we stretch it as much as we can. But anyways, the preliminary budgets have been received. And the current fiscal year, what was appropriated, what's been approved, versus what's in this book is up 8.36%, on a dollar amount of $292,278.88.
in the request.
In the request.
Which we had asked for 0, basically, but with all of the costs that we can't control, drives it to 8%, is what you're saying?
Yeah, well, yeah, and there's some others in there too. There's been a lot of talk about doing something about facilities. So at the department head meetings, they put together a municipal facilities budget. That's up a little over, I think it's 70,000 something. And that is to put a plan, to do maintenance. And that's the problem that we have. We have all these buildings, we don't have a maintenance plan in place. And I also included in that funds for Osprey Dam too, because we're going to have to do some work on that.
We got to do the gates.
Yeah. Yeah.
So there is some new stuff above and beyond what was in here last
Correct.
year.
So my recommendation to the board is homework. I'm going to give you homework.
In other words, know this before we come into a meeting.
Yes, absolutely. And under the tab 3, there is some worksheets, and there's a big one. This is what we used last year.
Yep.
And there's plenty of room to make notes on it as you go through it. And so when we come into the first workshop, any notes, we can review them. I will have it up on the screen.
Oh, good.
So that when everybody walks out of the workshop that night, everybody knows what's going on and everybody approves it. So that we're not sometimes having 2 and 3 different scenarios on what everybody thought took place. And I also would like to see us do some kind of a format, because I'll tell you, last year it felt like at times it was taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back.
Agree
Well,
with that.
I think certainly I'm receptive to letting Nancy kind of carve out some of the ground rules as we kick off here and we just say that this is the way that we're going to go and stay with that. I mean, we can have the discussion about, okay, do we want to tweak the ground rules a little bit, but once we've got that done, let's stay pat with that so we're not trying to chase around. And I know last year was probably one of the toughest years that we've had to continue to dig and cut and thrash, and how do we save this, or how do we add that back, and
this year's going to be the same.
right, and I don't see anything really changing this year other than it's another challenge, basically.
I mean, personally, I think if we, and we did this some last year, but to stick to it closer, and that is to have an agenda for every budget meeting, and then stay on the agenda. There's a tendency to go off the agenda and get into specific issues that we individually have, and I guess my thought is you get the agenda out early enough, 4 or 5 days before the meeting, and then, or a week before the meeting, and then if a member has something they wish to put onto the agenda, then that can be added in. But then once the meeting starts, is to keep it on track.
Yeah.
And that will save us a lot of this back.
And using the screen is going to help also, too.
Yep.
So you guys have homework to do is to read the book, know it, make notes. You're going to be tested on it several times.
And it's longer than the test to do the...
Yes, it will. And also, maybe on the first workshop that we have, everybody can bring in what they have for notes. We can kind of go over them the first meeting, any questions that we want to pass on. And either the first meeting, depending on when you schedule it, or it definitely will be the second one, we'll have preliminary appropriation amounts, and I will have the budget on to put all town departments back to regular hours.
Okay.
I'm almost finished with that, but
And our,
At least the impact of that.
yeah, the impact of it.
on our budget process that we all voted to follow this year, we set a timeline of 30 days for ourselves to go through this and get it done. We're supposed to be done by February 5th with the budgets and get them to the Finance Committee by February 12th, so I think we need to start meeting sooner rather than later, and it may mean meeting a couple times a week.
I was going to say that means at least weekly meetings, and a couple of hours, maybe a couple times. Yeah, and maybe is that something we can set up a schedule tonight?
Yeah, we probably could add that to the agenda, right? So, after we get through the reports. Anything else, Nancy?
No.
Anything from the board? I think there's a lot of communications coming at a lot of us from MMA, from Nancy, from EcoMaine, from the county budget committee. So, I mean, now is the time not to kind of get lax with reading material, because there's a lot coming at us, and the better educated we are of what's going on around us, the better we can at least formulate this budget. So, this is the first meeting that we have decided that we would have committee reports and actually have a schedule of a committee coming in and reporting. And I will preface this by, we've kind of brought David in first on the transfer station committee because he's in so frequently, and he does a good job of handling this. So the issue here, David, is just where's the transfer station committee in their goals and objectives and missions and whatnot, and kind of it's your 15 minutes or 10 minutes or whatever you want to take to say, this is what we're doing, and this is the help that we need. And timely that Mr. Andrews just happened to walk in to support you.
Well, very good. I need all the support I can get. Do Nancy or Dennis know when we started having recycling committees? Transfer committees? Back in the 90s?
Way before my time.
Before.
I think there was a recycling committee back, had to be in the
Early 90s?
late 80s, early 90s, somewhere in there, probably late 80s.
I can remember in talking with citizens that in the early 90s and mid-90s, they had a great committee, some very active people, and had some great ideas. And that sort of fell by the wayside, but in reviewing the history of the committee, I mean, there's always been the goal and objective is to reduce our cost. And around the year 2000, I think we took a little different trend and looked at the transfer station itself and decided that perhaps if we improved the transfer station and made it more accessible and user-friendly and more appealing, that this might help lead to a greater increase in our recycling. That we certainly have, I think, one of the best transfer station facilities around. I know a lot of people, when I go to meetings in Eco Maine, comment on all the different materials that we handle, that a lot of communities do not have the availability of discarding items as does Waterboro. But to summarize, the increase in recycling has been meager or mediocre over the last 20, 25 years. And perhaps there's a silver lining in our present-day finances. I don't know. There's no question about it. Money is tight, and it's going to get tighter. And towns and the people in the towns are going to have to look at different areas where they can save money. And fortunately, the transfer station or trash is one area where if people get together and work as a team, they can in fact save a great deal of money. And one of the objectives that we've come up with is to reduce the tonnage of household waste, save cost, in a fair and equitable manner, and increase our recycling. And over the last several months, we have spent a lot of time developing ideas on how we can do this. Each plan has its positive and negative aspects. They all address the objective of reducing the tonnage and increasing recycling. Now, John might disagree with me on this, but an observation when I've been at the transfer station, and I say he may disagree with me because of the survey we had, but when I was taking a survey, I tried to go one person who was recycling and one who wasn't, okay? So it come out about 50-50. But in observing over several times, I'm guessing that around 40% of the people are doing some type of recycling, and most of them think they're doing a great job. And in fact, I think they could improve a great deal. But around 60% are not doing recycling. And so what you have is a majority of people who are not trying to recycle, driving up our costs, basically. And we have come up with several plans, actually I think 3, and these are not set in stone, they're not finalized. We need to discuss them more, and we need to go to the public with it. The first one, and they're just listed not in any type of preference or anything else, is what I call a 50-50 plan, or one-on-one, or one-for-one. It's a plan with town user fee bags, or pay-as-you-throw bags. But one bag would be given to each person who brings in a bag of recycling. In other words, they have a bag of trash and they have a bag of recycling. They would receive a free bag, okay, for their household waste. They do not have to use town bags for their recycling. They can use any bag or a barrel or a container of some sort, okay, but it's one for one. And if somebody brought in 3 bags of household waste and 2 bags of recycled material, they would receive the 2 bags, basically, okay, for every bag that they bring in recycling. Non-recyclers have the choice, and they would have to buy their own bags, okay? All right. Number 2 is a sticker program. A bright colored sticker with a town of Waterboro emblem or logo on it would be sold to those who use the transfer station recycling center to dispose of their household waste. User would purchase their own choice of bags, and all systems are based on a 33-gallon bag. No body bags, no 40-gallon bags, anything else. It's 33-gallon is maximum size. Each household will receive 10 free stickers to get them started. And in talking with people at the transfer station, several people said, I'd rather see, just go back to the old paper bag, because you don't have to fool around with stickers, the bags are, stand out, you know what they are, you're not losing the stickers, et cetera, et cetera. So, you know, it's all up in the air. The following plan is a combination of free disposal and pay-as-you-throw. Free disposal would mean that users who recycle all items that are recyclable, okay, you're making a sincere effort to do this, and they would use clear bags or bags that are opaque, so you can see, a number of people already do it, you can see what's in the bag. You can't read what's in it or anything else, but you can see paper, you can see tin can, you can see a glass ball. If they recycle, okay, they can use their own bags. If you don't recycle, then you buy town bags. And again, it gives the individual who chooses not to recycle, they're not interested in reducing the tonnage of household waste, which is our biggest cost of disposing of trash. They will help offset some of the cost by buying the bags. Now, these are committee suggestions. We are open to other ideas. Pam, do you know, can you look ahead on the calendar? It's February 8th. It's a Monday night available, you know. We'll work that out, but we would like to hold a public forum, okay, and discuss this with the townspeople. It will be in February, early February, asking all people who are interested in this, whether you're for or against saving money and reducing the cost and increasing recycling, to attend, to discuss these plans and other ideas that they may have. And with the extreme financial crisis that Maine is facing, we know, as Nancy has said, that there is not going to be a lot of money coming out of Augusta, that the Selectmen is going to have to look at all areas and make cuts or eliminate whatever. And even if they do that, more than likely costs are going to increase. I think we all know in our own household finances that we have made adjustments, tried to reduce the money going out of our homes, and have made these cuts and adjustments, and yet the price of everything just keeps going up, you know? So you've got less, and your money buys less. You know, it's a difficult situation we're in, but it's something that the townspeople can have a say and an active part in, and I think they would feel good about what they're going to be doing here. So it's not only financially feasible for us to do this, but also economically or environmentally the time to do it. And we all know what's going on in the world with the environment. So this is a serious matter, and we need everybody's help on this. Thank you.
Finance committee and Parks and Rec are the only two things going on right now.
Well,
Vote in the other bill.
yeah,
Both in the other bill.
I would think, David, if and we can discuss this at the next committee meeting, but if we're going to
Okay.
do it, we would do it here, we would do it live.
Yeah.
I would think you'd open up a phone line so you could take calls if somebody wanted to call in, or we could
Email or something.
do emails and truly try to run as much of a forum as we could.
Yeah.
And if somebody can't make it here, they can at least call and ask the question and make the comment, and we can facilitate that. So as long as this room is available, I would think that the committee should at least look at carving that date and saying that's the date that we're going to do it.
And we'll have more information at that time also, especially on potential savings or cost, and which I think a lot of people are looking. That's the question they want to know. What's this going to cost?
I would think that, by the way, your presentation I thought was very clear and well presented in a way. I think you could cut a piece out of that and replay it, so people know what the issues are. And just the way you presented that, David, if it was replayed again and again, maybe some people would see that and realize the issue is that we need to save money in our transfer station, and the way to do it is to put the burden on the people that put the burden on us, the non-recyclers, and have them pick up the cost of not recycling. And there's three different ways that we've got now of doing that, and if there's another way or two that we can look at, but it looks like the committee and the board is probably going to be going in that direction, that we're going to be levying the cost of not recycling on the people that don't recycle. And if they know that, and the person's not recycling, they can get here and speak to their issues.
One of the frustrating thing is, and also it's, I'm not sure what the right word is, but the opposite of frustration, but I mean, it's there. That transfer station is ripe for savings. I mean, if we can get the people behind it, it is there, But again, we have to get over that hurdle of changing people's habits. And there's money to be saved down there.
Yeah, I think the bottom line is as we go through this, and it might not be this year, but it's inevitable if people decide that the waste stream is, they don't care how big the waste stream is, if that's the prevailing opinion, and I think today that's the majority, not the... ultimately, the cost will be cut out of the transfer station, whether it's we will stop taking other product and make it purely a transfer station for waste, household waste, and recycling. But, there are some things that when you look at that whole operation, people don't realize that this municipality takes more stuff, right, than any other municipality probably in York County, basically. So that's an advantage, and that comes at some price that's inherent in the cost of running the transfer station. We're strictly going to, if we're going to continue to generate the amount of household waste, some of that other cost is going to have to go away. So the only way you go is you continue to reduce the operation to nothing more than, this is where I take my household waste and my recyclables, household recyclables. You're not going to get rid of tires there. You're not going to get rid of all of the other things that you've become accustomed to getting rid of. Ultimately, that's the only other way that, as we go forward, that you can reduce cost. Now, some of those things pay for themselves and actually help defer the cost of other things. So
I mean,
It'll be a tough decision, but I mean, ultimately, that's where you're headed.
Well, one of the things we've talked about again and again in the committee is the fairness. That part of this is not only saving money, but it's a fairness issue. And the fairness issue is that that a family or people that do not recycle are costing those people that do extra taxation money in order to run a more inefficient transfer station. So it's unfair for the people that refuse to recycle to cost money for those people that do recycle. So in looking at some of the three possible programs that we've looked at, is it takes the fairness issue into account. This is those people that are costing us money are going to pay for that.
And I will have to say, traffic to the Silver Bullet out here, every week is increasing.
Yep,
I
that's
mean,
good.
it's, in fact, you might want to check it, because it's full.
It's full?
That front door, too, you can't open, so that's why everything's being dumped in the middle and the back.
I'd be interested in knowing that it really is recyclable materials that's going in that, and people aren't
Non-household.
just putting everyday trash in there as well.
I've been watching this one and the one down at the Lions Club, and pretty much all recyclable.
Wonderful.
Good.
That's what we want.
And they're doing really well with the school, really well.
Any other questions of David or comments?
With the plans that you're looking at, as far as, you know, whether it's a sticker, paper bag, or whatnot, is there any consideration or any thoughts, ideas being tossed around on how you're going to handle hauler trash?
That's something we have to look at. It was definitely an issue that will be addressed. Yeah. I don't have an answer for you right now, but it is going to be addressed. Yeah.
Anything else for David? Not David, thanks for kicking this process off for us, and I think John is right. I think what you said was very clear, succinct, and you know, hopefully we've had a bunch of folks hear it. So next week we have road review committee up.
Yep.
So we'll go from there. But thanks, David, and thanks, Clint, for coming in and supporting, just as he was getting ready to speak.
I have a question for Clint.
Yep.
When we spoke, I think it was, what, Sunday afternoon, you'd mentioned that the figures for recycling was up. You'd actually made more recycling runs?
It should be, I'm just guessing now, I should get around 20% this month. Because we've sent a lot of recycling in compared to other months.
It said something
And,
like two additional truckloads, is that what it was?
2, 3,
3 now?
yeah.
Are people getting more accustomed to the single sort recycling now, do you think?
But also the household waste has really dropped. For last month, it was down like almost 30 tons, down over last year. So that helps.
Well, let's hope that it's being converted to recyclables, basically. Anything else before we move on? All right. How about I would entertain someone adding budget workshop scheduling
I will do that.
under new business?
I'll second that.
All those in favor of adding that to item 3? All right. New business, discuss year-end audit final journal entries. Are we squared away or not? Or I understand that
I would say no.
we did not have auditors show here
No.
today.
No, we did not, but they did send the figures that we've been waiting for.
Okay.
But I recommend that the board sit down with the auditors and have a talk with them to find out why it took so long.
Okay.
I think not just that, there's some
Yeah, that's
There's some
important, yeah.
there's some questions and discrepancies, and we expected to get answers from those, and that's why they were supposed to come in today, and they didn't even have the courtesy to call and say, we're not coming in. It's an email, and I find that a very poor business practice. We're paying for a service, and we need to get the service that we're paying for.
Do we have questions with what they've submitted?
Yes.
Nancy or
Got it, so
Julie?
in time to really digest.
Well, most of them are changing the beginning balances, adjusting them.
All right, so I guess what,
I mean, it states in their email what they're for. These journal entries will put everything back to, that will be the final journal entries. Except I think they're looking for, they want a GL report once the entries are done.
yeah, trial balance.
Trial balance.
Yes, I know. So- Yeah, I would like, and we can do this on an off night if they would like, if whatnot, but I think we have them, we need to do it, run the trial balance, but I think that we need to have a session with Ron and the board relative to, okay, we had an audit report 3 months ago, we accepted it 6, 7 weeks ago. You know, certainly, some of this is fundamentally doesn't change any of that, other than, you know, it's taxes receivable and whatnot, which we already had, but, so it looks like that's not going to change, and I mean, and there's some minor changes here, but, you know, the fact of the matter is we need to understand why and how do we prevent it from happening again.
Yeah, if it's things that we're doing that's holding them up, then we need to know that so that we can provide them with the information in a more timely. But if it's them just putting us and weighing us back, then we need to be a little more demanding, I think.
So I think we put a request for a workshop with Ron and Sharman, is that the gal that does it? And the board, and Julie, and yourself, and, you know, we can do that sooner than later. And if that has to be done on an off night, then probably no reason that we can't do that on an off night.
Okay.
So,
I'll call Ron first thing in the morning and get some,
yeah, because I
Thanks for
think John is absolutely right. I mean, if this is to do with waiting for numbers from us, then that's one thing. If it's that we've been waiting, or they've had the numbers and just haven't put the stuff together, that's another thing. And I'm not sure why we have to, other than we should be making most of these final journal entries without them, would be my opinion, and then they would validate them, right? So I'm not sure why we depend on them to do a lot of this, other than certifying it after the final numbers or the final trial balance is done. So let's see if we can get that set up sooner than later. Revenue sharing, revenue expenses, I think we tossed this on here last full meeting that we had, as a matter of where do we stand. I'm not sure that we have the current numbers. Are those in the budget books?
no, I was waiting for the journal entries and then
Okay.
we got it.
I'm just interested, I think, in where do we stand with excise
Oh,
tax
I can tell you that.
relative to where we had budgeted. We know revenue sharing is going to now start to lag. We also have, I think we were pretty well on tune with taxes.
We've collected 49.5% of the excise tax that was budgeted.
Okay. So we finished the year, we're 50% way through the year, and we've collected about 50% of what we budgeted, which understandably was down from where we were last year. And I think we just need to, you know, I think let's look at not even though some of the other buckets aren't as significant, we ought to look at revenues from the transfer station, revenues from
He's doing pretty good with
fees
his.
and stuff that are, you know, locally in here, or what are we doing? I can't imagine that there's a lot of code fees or stuff being picked up. There's not-
Actually,
there's-
they're
Are they starting
they're
to pick
doing
up?
pretty good. I looked at them.
So let's kind of, just a clean sheet, doesn't have to be out of Trio, you know, it can be a spreadsheet that says, here's all the revenues that we expected, here's where we stand, so we don't have to sort through each and every one. And I think probably, based on what we're going to come up with for a schedule here in the next bullet, we can start to pull that together at the budget workshop meetings and go from there.
Well, part of this was something that I asked to have on a agenda, because one of the numbers that's been thrown out is going to impact us in this fiscal year, and one of the projected spreadsheets was we're losing $43,000 in revenue that we were supposed to get in this fiscal year that we weren't planning on. So that's $43,000 that we may well be short between now and the end of this fiscal year. So I think it's, knowing that that may be coming, I think it's prudent that we look ahead now and say, okay, where do we need to put some
Where do we
brakes
cut?
on?
Yeah.
So if this comes to fruition,
Yeah.
we've got, you know, we have an idea of where we may be able to get the cash from.
I mean, there's several issues there that I see. One is that you cut the budget by $43,000, the operating budget for the last half of the year, which is painful. The other is that the surplus that is possibly projected at the end of this year is reduced by $43,000, so that goes against next year's budget that is reduced by that amount. Or you go to a special town meeting and you raise, or you transfer $43,000 out of our undesignated surplus and run it that way. So you get those are three possibilities that come to mind, but we've got to make those decisions very quickly, because the first one is reducing the budget by $43,000 needs to happen as quickly as possible.
And you can use overlay also. Because revenue sharing is used in calculating the tax rate, so you could also use overlay, which you would need a town meeting approval,
Right.
but...
There's already baked into the tax rate.
Right.
Yeah, and the real question is it, you know, it's the proposal by the governor. Legislature's just back in session today, tomorrow? Tomorrow. I'm sure that there's an effort to try to get this done sooner than later, right? Which is all really dealing with this current biennium budget, right? So it's not only what we've got left between now and July 1st, but it's what the state will impact our 2011 fiscal year budget, which we're starting to work in these books. So, but I think you're right, maybe that's the thing that we really need to do, is to start to, twofold, is to start to tee up where are some opportunities to maybe minimize the expenditures of $43,000 or something like that, right?
And we know that those are going to be pretty slim to none, seeing as we've already got a bare bones budget. I mean, we sliced it, diced it every which way last year. There's not a lot of, there is no fat in this budget.
So I think, you know, that's really, I mean, we can't pull a trigger today other than in anticipation to say, okay, let's stop. Clint, you got $40,000 less, all right? Or Matt, you got $40,000 left that you can't spend. We could do that. That's a bit premature in the fact that we don't know where we're coming out of the legislature with this. I got to believe that that will be endorsed. Maybe not. Maybe the legislature will say, you know, we can't continue to pull from the municipalities, but I would
And-
think
and-
that will happen sooner than later, because, I mean, we're poking tree growth and everything else at this point.
And the other thing that we might be seeing is we may be seeing the school district holding a special meeting to increase tax because of the financial problems that they're coming in, if you've been following the news and some
And
of
I'm
their
not sure how you
minutes.
do that. I mean, other than that they would have to come back to us, there would have to be a vote. It would have to come back, we would have to have a supplemental tax
Yeah.
billing. So, yeah, I think you're right, we need to put that on the radar right now, and, as we start this whole process, and it's almost, we're going to be monitoring where we stand with all of this current budget, as well as where we're going with the next one, but...
Not only the school, but the county is
And the county.
maybe coming with their hand out too, to balance their books this year.
So, you want to take some action here, or is this really,
Well, I think we need to have the number sheets in front of us. We've got the journal entries, hopefully those are going to get done, and maybe by next week we could get the spreadsheets of exactly where we are and our revenue and expenses so that we can start taking a look at that and determine if there are some funds there that maybe we can look at starting to set aside. I just would like to see us plan ahead now and not wait until April, May.
yeah, it's a little
Realize.
easier to plan other than react, so...
Maybe, and if we can get this done by next Tuesday, if we came in at 5:30, give us a half hour to go through this and start,
Yeah,
So we can
is
start
there
making decisions.
any reason, Nancy, from your perspective, that we couldn't have, I mean, I know the journal entries here are probably, I don't know how long it takes. I
Should
mean,
have it,
it's-
yeah.
I mean, ideally, it'd be nice to have them by Friday so we
Yeah,
have time to digest them and not walk in Tuesday night looking at them fresh.
so if you can pull that together, and even if we got to work to help that, and then we'll just schedule it for 5:30 next Tuesday night to at least preliminarily look at that stuff and then go from there. Budget workshop schedule. What's your pleasure here? We got less than 30 days, or 30 days from tonight, to present to this thing to the Finance Committee, so...
is there another day during the week that would work where we would have either here or...
Well, last year, we did Thursday nights because no one else kind of used this room Thursday nights, right? And I would suggest that we ought to at least preliminary, when we had kind of tentatively, we wanted to do the capital plan this Thursday night, right? Which is now kind of defaulted to the Finance Committee meeting on Monday night. So I'm receptive if you folks are to show up here
Thursday night?
Thursday nights from here on out, and,
There's going to be a zoning board in here one Thursday.
okay.
Now, there's other places within
Yeah.
the building that we can meet.
I
I mean,
mean,
it
we
doesn't
could,
have
if
to
we had
be
to,
just...
we can meet in the the lunchroom there.
Yep.
Okay. Is there any problem with starting this Thursday night?
Nope.
What time?
5:30?
So every I block out my calendar, we'll block out every Thursday night,
Yeah.
starting
You know,
the
so
day
we've
of.
got at least 4 Thursday nights, and we're going to know here in another week or so whether we need to add
I
another
think we're
one.
going to be adding more than one night a month.
So let's start Thursday night, 5:30, in this room.
6?
Make sure that, you want to do it 5:30 or 6?
5:30 is fine with me?
5:30 works for me.
Works for me.
Yep,
Okay.
it'll work for me. I think. Some nights it might be tight. All right? So, Nancy, I guess Thursday night will be your agenda,
Okay.
okay? And then we'll go from there. All right, old
Have
business.
this read by Thursday night?
Yes.
Yeah, read it by
Your
now.
first task will
You
be
have now
Thursday
1.5
night.
nights to read that. Discuss year-end audit, final journal entry, I'm way back, I'm sorry. Old business, discuss York County energy efficiency grant. Kind of held this off for you, Nancy.
Yeah, well, I probably got up before Tom left, but I heard him sneezing. I hope he didn't blow himself out the door. Yeah. Tom been looking into it. And from what he has deciphered from all the phone calls and everybody he's talked to, if the town wants to do any energy audits on facilities, the first thing we need to have an energy audit done on the facilities. And he says it's in the ballpark of around $5,000 to have them done. For any grants, energy grants, that's the first thing that they ask for is if you had an energy audit done.
And is that, you're talking about $5,000 per building? I mean, if we do the library and we do here?
I was hoping he was going to be here, but I think it's for all the facilities. That was where I took it. The state does have a program.
Amy, you want to stick your head out and see if Tom's on? Just out of curiosity.
Tom, of 7 half-days through this year for us, a staff to do it. Usually
He's still here.
Is he still here?
Yep.
Oh, good.
He thought he was going to get away.
Yeah,
Yeah.
just a little
We
casual.
heard you sneezing,
Just
too.
A little casual overtime for you.
That's his lunchbox.
This efficiency audit. Mike, no wonder he's not hungry, never hungry. He's probably got salmon.
Well, it's not food, it's my to-do box.
Energy audits.
Yes.
Before we move forward with looking at any efficiency grants, we would have to do energy audits.
That's both strategic and tactical. In order to be highly successful, that meaning getting the grants, every community should do an energy audit. And with the energy audit, it accomplishes a couple things. One is it identifies both primary and secondary issues, but most importantly, it comes up with a recommendation list by a certified energy audit specialist, if you will, and then it also attaches numbers to it, because all the applications call out specific cost analysis and cost estimates. So it's unwise to shoot from the hip as to what these costs might be, because in some cases there's options and alternatives. So the strategic and most importantly the tactical way of doing this is to do a specific audit, and actually on all of your buildings.
Other programs that will pay for the audit?
Well, typically the audits, or traditionally, not typically, traditionally they run $4,000 to $5,000. And of course it all depends on who's doing that particular
Well,
audit.
$5,000 a building or?
Traditionally in the past, and I'm only working with past figures, that's what, for a town this size with the number of municipal buildings that you have, would typically in the past have charged that amount.
Now, again, is there, I know back when we had the energy crisis before, the government had programs that paid for energy audits. And I'm looking at York County Community Action for some people who met the income guidelines that they used to anyway, do free energy audits, and that would entitle them. And certainly we, as a town, meet the income guidelines as far as...
Well, John, you're on to a good approach in an effort to save the town that amount of money to do an energy audit, energy facility audit. Perhaps we could start a conversation with the folks at CAP, or they might be able to lead us to someone who's certified to do an energy audit, because it's the state of Maine that we have to appease. And so those, in fact, there's training programs that the state of Maine has embarked on in the past and will in 2010. If anyone's been through that program and has been certified by the state of Maine or the feds, then it helps our likelihood of being successful on an energy efficiency grant. My suggestion is, if we pursue it, is to pursue it tactically, do the audit, go step by step, and then go for a larger than normal grant. Okay, because once you have the audit, it gives you the ability to pivot in a lot of different directions for more than one type of energy grant. When you're going through that process of putting the application together, and I think, Pam, you'd probably affirm this, and Joe, the process is complicated, and there's a lot of forms and policies, particularly when it has a federal attachment to it. So there's a whole list of compliances, a whole list of procedures, and a whole list of processes that you have to go through. So I say let's go for the big dollars, and many of these that are energy related are 100% from fed or state. But my past experience has been have the energy audit, and in looking through some of the applications for the efficiency grants, and in this case I'm not speaking about a stove or a furnace. I'm talking about larger scale projects where the town could be a much larger beneficiary of larger sums of money.
So can you contact CAP Housing to see if there's, maybe find the most inexpensive way to get that energy audit done? And they probably would know.
Absolutely. I'll start that conversation this week so that we can get ahead of the 8 ball. In reviewing the deadlines and looking at the efficiency grant program, nearly all of the state applications had to be received by November 18th. Now, there was a pot of money that was sent over to York County. That pot of money is, from what I can see, pretty well obligated. So it's just like the federal appropriation process. You know, you have obligations and you have appropriations. And so I see us a little bit behind the 8 ball on this one, but to get in front of the line by doing the audit, we'll have an audit that's a 2010 audit that will really put us to the front of the line, if you will.
Pam, whereas this is our EOC per se, is there any EMA money that would be applicable to helping with an energy audit?
I don't think for an energy audit right now, there's no funding at this particular time until the next bout of DHS funding comes in for us. Now, every year they earmark something. It might be training, it might be EOC, it might be building, it might be apparatus, and we can wait and see where it's going to go, and if it's available and it's for buildings or EOCs, there's no reason why Tom and I can't put our heads together and say, hey, right now there's nothing there, but it should be coming soon because the EMPG's been awarded, so I would expect it to be somewhat soon. And, you know, if you don't put in, you won't get it. If you put in, there's a possibility. I know we tried to put in something for Matt, and I got my little rejection letter because they only had $2.5 million to give out, and they actually had $10 million worth of grants that people wanted, and it just didn't go. There's only one town in your county that actually got any money at all from the last round.
So I guess to at least, I mean, we can debate back and forth of, you know, what comes first, the chicken or the egg, and I think ultimately, Tom, if you could give us a one-pager that says, these are the things that we need to do, if we get a stick it in as part of this book to say, we really need to make this happen going forward, or magically we find $4 or $5 grand that we could do it in this fiscal year. But it's something, especially if we've got funding, if we've got budget requests in this book that are talking about facilities, all right, then I think it's prudent for us to understand where we could save some money in the facilities.
Key word, Mr. Chairman, is being prudent. And I think the best prudence we can have is to be tactical, to be smart, for you all to take a look at, Pam, if we could make a copy of that letter and share it with you to give you a sense of a recent request from the fire chief. It gives us a sense of what we must do in order to be successful. My approach to grantsmanship is to find a golden pregnant hen, because the hen does come first, because we know she's got eggs. Okay? We'll take care of it from there.
Okay. All right. so
But I will follow up with a
Would you
one-pager.
find one of them up in Augusta for
Let us
too?
know.
Yeah, we need to bring it in.
All right. Anything else for Tom?
Mr. Chairman, any other questions?
No, I think you've done fine. The other piece of this, which is the
Great.
next item, is handicap accessibility. And I gotta believe that at some point, there's gotta be some funding available, once we understand what we need to do.
Okay, we got a letter on that today.
Okay.
Finally, from it was actually from the Office of the Registrar of Voters, I think, in the state. I don't know whether or not Representative Wagner had anything to do with that. I know that we've been discussing that with their office for several months, and they kept putting us off, and I know at a previous Board of Selectmen's meeting, we mentioned it to the representative, and it seems now that we got this letter, so I don't know if he did speak to them, and
I made a phone call, and as the letter indicates, they're quite short-staffed. from
Even
the-
if you didn't, Joe, take credit for it.
Yes,
well, if it was that, I wanted to thank you. But the survey forms are in there. I talked with, as I'm sure our town administrator did, with the town clerk this afternoon, and I guess tentatively, pending the approval of the town administrator, I guess the town clerk and the code enforcement officer could take a look at that survey and get it completed so that we can apply for the funds, or see if we're eligible for the funds, because my understanding with that is the work has to be done up front, and then we can receive up to $3,500 of whatever the total bill
80% of the
costs.
cost, up to $3,500.
Yeah. And I think coupled with the money that we already have in appropriations for some facility changes, that we may be able to make a good effort towards getting this accomplished.
Okay. Have we made contact with Alpha One, or no? I know you kind of done this stuff up that
I
night.
passed that information.
Yeah, I have a letter going, well, I haven't sent it out to him yet, but then this came in, so.
Okay. I still would like,
You still want Alpha to
I
come
think,
out
I think we ought to, if they're still providing that service, we ought to compare, I guess you'd call it triangulate a little bit, right?
We
so
did
that
one
we know.
here quite a few years ago,
Yeah,
in the old building.
I think Dennis Pratt was the
Yes.
guy
Yes.
at that time. Somebody else
Yep.
now. Okay, so that ultimately needs to go on to our list of, not pending decisions, but at least action items that continue to bubble up here so that we keep it on the radar.
Well, this is at least moving forward, which
Yep.
then
Yep.
it's-
Thanks, Tom. Anything else on either one of those issues?
The whole checklist that they have to fill out. They, you know,
Yeah, we still had a copy of when it was filled out before, so.
Okay. Other issues, warrants and bills for payroll? Entertain a motion.
Second.
Been moved and seconded. All those in favor? Opposed? Discuss vote to sign minutes of 12:22 and 12:29.
I sent a note to Pam about an error
It's
on...
already fixed.
Okay.
So let's deal with 12:22 first.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? That's a 4-0. 12:29.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor of the three that were here?
What was the error on that?
On the 12:22, it was, Cindy had seconded a motion, and she'd put it as me. as seconding it, but I had abstained from that vote, so
Right, because you hadn't been.
I hadn't been here for the appointment.
All right, so all in favor of the 1229? That's a 3-0-1 abstention, because I was not here. Pending decisions, personnel policy, I think, Nancy, you was somewhere along the line here, we've either talked or you sent something out that we're
Sent it out. Is
closing.
that ready to go on the agenda for next week?
Okay. So we'll add that next week. Committee involvement, I think we're starting to, we'll see where that takes us, but I want to again thank Dave for showing up tonight and kicking this off. Land trust deeds, the last communication that I saw, I think that you sent to us in your absence, or you sent to us, or something, is we're getting close.
Yeah, we do have something that said they're ready.
Yeah. So hopefully when Ken gets back from his worldwide vacation tour or something, that we get those. Parks ordinance, we need to bring back when we have scheduled a public
Yes,
hearing.
Public hearing for
Week
19th.
2, 19. Streetlight request.
waiting to hear back from Sean.
Okay. And then we probably, well, it's not really a pending decision, but the handicap accessibility, I just want to somehow keep that in front of us. But I guess that'll be part of the budget process anyway, so we'll let that go to there.
The training proposal, you skipped over that
Oh,
one.
I'm sorry, training proposal.
Yeah, I'll get with Nat and see if we can't tie that up within the next couple of weeks.
Okay.
I think we finally have all of the reports from the state.
And I see there's a proposal, was in the MMA monthly magazine. There's a legislature, a bill that's up to restrict even more, like group email distributions or something that could be used for voting or something. So there's more public
Right to know.
right to know stuff coming in it, but there's some proposal, and I skimmed through it the other night, but,
Representative Dostie, who's the sponsor.
yeah. So it's like, as time goes on and more issues hit throughout different municipalities, it's going to get tighter and tighter. Week's action list, I've just got Nancy to make sure that we meet with Ron, set up a workshop. And then ultimately, I guess, if we're going to be here Thursday night, if you can identify we can get the revenue and expenditure reports and everything, we'll have those for our budget
You want
workshop.
just the summaries?
Yeah, I don't think we need to
Yeah,
get into the
okay.
bowels of it at this point, just the... Agenda items for next week. We've got personnel policy.
I don't know how we can address this, but last week we had a definite staff shortage here at Town Hall. Unfortunately, Carrie was ill. BJ was on vacation, and that left Sharon running the front end by herself last week. And I'll tell you, she did a tremendous job. I came in a couple of times, and the line was down to Nancy's door, and she was out there by herself handling that. So definitely kudos to Sharon last week, always with a smile on her face. But I think that's not, we talk about serving the public well, and if you have to come in and wait 20 minutes in line, that's not serving the public well. And I think that's something that we need to, I know in the past that there's been discussion about cross-training, and making sure that that front end is covered so that citizens are being served when they come into this building. And I think that's something that we really need to take a look at. That isn't the first time that this has happened in the past couple of months. Somehow we need to look at addressing that.
Yeah, and I guess I know the training proposal that we've been talking about kind of doesn't sort of address that, but it should. There should be some sort of a training matrix or something that gets set up here that says, okay, this is how many people we've got, and these are the different skills and whatnot that, in the case of someone being out, that we could pull a Nancy or a Pam or somebody to say, okay, this is, we've got a day where we need to fill a seat basically in the front. So I think, Nancy, we really kind of, maybe if we put that, and I know we've got some contract language to deal with there, but I mean, there's no reason that we can't start to put something together that is part of our training package that says, and all of these people that work here are all capable or will be, or by 2012, there's got to be a time kind of fence to it, and, what are the requirements to get everybody to some level. But you're right, the person from the street doesn't care that this person can do registrations and that person can't, and
Having one person out front is unmanageable here.
Yeah. And this brings up another issue that maybe we can put on next week's agenda too, and that is when the town hall is closed for a half a day, and the town hall being closed on Mondays, that there, no matter how we put it in the newspaper, we put it, it comes up at these meetings, there's still a load of people that don't see it in the newspaper, don't watch these meetings, or they don't get it. So there's some questions about how do you get the information out to people when the town hall is open and when it is closed. I'm not sure there's a way to do that effectively and efficiently. But what you can do, this is, we can discuss this maybe next week too, is you can put it up on a sign out front, so it leaves, at least the person doesn't. Okay, in big, okay. I'm just thinking about those people that drive in, see it on the sign, say, darn, it's closed, rather than getting out and going to the door and rattling the door.
Sign on the front door, they'll walk past the sign and not see it.
I beg your pardon?
We put a sign on the front door as well.
Yep.
They walk through the door and come in and say, oh, you're closing. They just walk by 2 doors with the sign on them.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Okay, so out front, there's a sign out front, closed, town hall closed.
It's closed on Mondays.
Okay.
Okay, I'm not sure that, I do think that we should deal with the staffing issue.
But I think this maybe is an
Okay, you
issue.
want to plug that into something that you can add to the training thing, Nancy, and bring that
In
back?
fairness to what is happening out front, with respect to Nancy Johnson, the amount of general assistance applications has just about skyrocketed, and she has been virtually out straight in there from what she normally does on maybe a couple of times a week to 4 days a week with multiple sessions in the morning and afternoon. I mean, her book is just loaded in there.
And there should be no reason that if, especially seeing how we do get reimbursed, right, from the state on after we trigger X amount of dollars, but if we can get her some, even if it was part-time help, that secretarial type help, or they could just handle some of the administrative stuff. I know they can't necessarily meet with her or make the decisions, but they might be able to do some things and I don't know what the availability of, I think we've got a couple of committee secretaries, right, whether or not you could, especially, and I think in the next 6 weeks, it's not going to slow down any, because it's fuel, it's cold, it's those kind of things. Is there a way that we could provide some help there as well? Or again, depending on who's here, is do some cross-training. But you're right, if she's got a full list of a book of appointments, and we say, yeah, well, we're going to cross-train Nancy J to do car registrations or whatever, and I think some of that she does anyway now, right? But it's like having her out of the mix too, if she's got a full slate of appointments, for general assistance.
Well, maybe what it's time to do, maybe what it's time to look at is the staff as a whole. what are everybody's, I know we have job descriptions, but when was the last time they were updated? Has it been a while, or? Year ago. I mean, maybe it's time to just look at the staff as a whole and see what everybody's doing, what their time commitment is, and look at, maybe that's how how do we get the staff to work together to get the work done? Instead of, well, this is, I've got to do this and I've got to do that. Is there some shifting that we can do so that as a whole, we're working in unison together? And maybe that would help smooth out some of these problems that we're having with, boy, if Nancy's bogged down,
Either that or nobody can get sick.
yeah, and that's not likely.
That's the
so-
anomaly that was thrown into this mix, was the hospitalization of one person that...
And there's corporate models out there that base on team. And, I think, we can get some ideas there that we say, okay, we're going to go into a team model that we service everybody that comes through the door in some way by the team approach.
Well, I think it's something that's got to be factored into the whole thing here, and I mean, ultimately, Nancy, that falls on you, but I think if we can help work some of that stuff, then you should come to us and say, you need to help me work some of this stuff, so.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm sure something else will come up for the agenda, but we'll play that by ear, as we always do, right? Items needing signature, warrants and bills of payroll, minutes of 12/22 and 12/29. Appointment papers, those are from last week?
Yeah.
Okay. Reminders, tomorrow, 7:30 a.m., WAB Business Development Meeting in the Town Hall. Tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. in this room, Planning Board meeting. EDC meeting Thursday at 4 p.m. here in the Town Hall Annex. We now will have a session here at 5:30, workshop with the Board of Selectmen and Nancy on budget. Next Monday, 6:30, Finance Committee, Selectmen, Town Planner will do the CIP presentations in this room. I think we got it scheduled, right? That's at 6:30 p.m. Monday, at 7 p.m., Parks and Rec at the Town Hall. Okay, we rescheduled the public hearing to the 19th, okay? And a Selectmen's meeting here next week. And at 5:30, do we need to meet at 5:30, or are we going to handle that Thursday night to look at revenues and expenditures?
I would say Tuesday. Are they going to have a chance to get journal entries done and get everything done before Thursday?
Well, I'll have to see, she started on them today.
Let's keep it scheduled for 5:30 for
Yeah.
Tuesday night, and we'll go from there.
And on, is it the 26th? The last Tuesday?
Yep.
Ken Cole will be here to do a workshop with the selectmen on tips.
Okay.
That's fine.
26th.
That's our workshop night anyway, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
And he has sent out some stuff, so I'll make a copy of it.
The only other thing is, and you do have with you, in front of you, if you're interested in attending tomorrow night, in the York County Courthouse, first floor courtroom at 7 p.m., the York County Budget Committee is meeting. They do have an agenda. Evidently, there's this time for public comment, and then the county manager presentations, commissioners, treasurer, maintenance, contingency, capital improvement, information technologies, communications, financial department, and overlay and debt are on the agenda. And I believe, I did get a call from John Sylvester today. They're trying to put together something that will kind of air out at the 12-town meeting here to try to get not only the larger communities that have business managers, but the smaller communities as kind of the, not all the 12-town are, but, and their input to the budget committee. They want to hear what are the issues facing the communities, individual communities, from a, which
what are the
they're all going
issues?
to be very, very same, but, you know.
Do we accept a levy on their debt?
Yeah, I mean, and it's the budget committee that wants to hear from the communities, not the county commissioners. So-
We've been down that road.
So we're, he called about another issue, but we kind of get off onto this, but, anything else? I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor? Good night, Cindy.